Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 6 of the Scalar Show. And we've got a great treat for you today. I'm interviewing Nita Kasan, who is Tom Palladino's wife. So she's involved in Scalar Light in a big way. But not only that, but we're going to be talking about something else that she does that is related to one of our Scalar Light programs, because we offer a program called the Fat Metabolism Program. So we're going to be talking about fat metabolism. We're going to be talking about fat loss. We're going to be talking about fat loss strategies. I'm not going to ruin it. No spoilers. I'll let Nita explain. But let me tell you a little bit about Nita. So Nita Kasan is a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a registered nurse, a previous lieutenant commander in the Naval Reserve Nurse Corps, a business owner, and a promoter of one of the most amazing products in the world. So it's a very colourful life. The purpose of this presentation today is to provide a simple explanation of ketones and ketosis and introduce you to a company which is called Pruvit and a product which is called Keto-OS. So we're going to get more into that as we go on. This is on the forefront of truly transforming just about every aspect of health. Okay, so welcome, Nita.
Thanks, Jamie. Good to see you.
Thank you, and nice to see you too. So I'm going to ask you, various questions to get to know a little bit about what you do. And you'll notice there that we've got Nita's website, legacyofexcellence.pro. So, do make a note of that and visit her website after the show. But first of all, Nita, I'm aware that you have had a weight loss journey that you've embarked on, and you've actually had some great success. And you lost 20 pounds, didn't you? So tell us a bit about that.
Okay, so, it's interesting. I have always been athletic. I've always eaten pretty healthy. But, I think as all of us get older, different things happen with our body. And I think I probably always thought, well, because I'm working out, I can just kind of eat however I want to eat and it's no big deal. And I think what ended up happening was probably over maybe a 5-year period, something like that, bit by bit, I was putting on a few pounds, and definitely not comfortable with that. And ketones, I'm going to be talking about that today. And, this is a product that I was introduced to probably about 5 years ago. And there's a million tremendous things about it that I'll share. But I had, if you can drink ketones and you can get incredible benefits from it. But if your goal is to lose body fat, you do still have to shift a little bit in how you're eating and decrease your carbohydrates, which I'll share. But so I decided that, despite the fact that I was drinking the ketones, it was time to shift a little bit. And because of the benefit of how it can help you with compliance, I guess, and just help with cravings, help with your appetite, all those kinds of things, I decided to just really get focused on it a little bit more. And so over the past couple of months, I've done that, and I've dropped the about 20 pounds and feel fantastic. And so that's kind of where I'm at, and that's kind of where I'm going to stay. So
that's
yeah. And there's some strategies around that, but we can get into all of that.
Yeah, we'll get into all of that, but that's really good to hear. And likewise, I've had some good weight loss success too, and I'm putting it back on. But I just want the listeners to know that the product that Nita is going to be talking about, I have myself. I have this myself, and I've been taking the product, and it does work. It does work. You mentioned there about your eating habits is obviously instrumental as well. You can't just, unfortunately, you can't just eat what you want and expect miracles.
Yeah.
And so, that's something in my life that I'm working on. But the keto drinks, I definitely feel some magic happening there. I definitely do. But I don't want to steal your thunder, because you're going to talk about, the whys and wherefores of that as we go on. So first of all, let's just kind of ask you this, like, the state of health in the United States at this time. What can you share about that?
Um, it's not good. I think statistics don't lie. If you just look at the one simple statistic that has come out from the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control, here in the United States, 1 in 10. I'm sorry, 6 in 10 Americans have at least one chronic disease, and 4 in 10 have at least two. That
Wow.
alone, kind of represents what is going on, and this has just kind of continued to progress as we've gone through the past however many years. There's a picture that I have that has a map of the United States, and it shows the obesity trends over a 30-year period. And the colors get darker and darker and darker as you look at these different maps representing higher percentages of obesity. And we're at a point now where the obesity level in the United States is just ridiculous. And the one thing about obesity, it is a chronic disease itself, but obesity causes inflammation, which is what causes a whole lot of other kinds of chronic diseases. So, we have been, I think, years ago, probably 20 years ago, we were exposed to the fact that everyone thought we should be eating low fat, and didn't really need to pay attention to what our carbohydrate level was. And that is where we really started to see this cycle of health go down. And so we've recognized that that's not the answer, and that there are other ways to be able to stay healthy, to be able to lose body fat, and not continue this progression that we've seen with the state of health in the United States and around the world. This is not just an issue in the United States. We are leading the world in terms of obesity, but we've got a lot of other countries that are right behind us. So it really is an international issue.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I was just thinking that. I mean, you could say that it's a pandemic,
Yeah.
because I know in the UK we have similar trouble,
Yeah.
and a lot of countries, and then there's countries that are not so much, but certainly on a worldwide level, I mean, it
Yeah.
certainly is like a pandemic. So, like, they say that you are what you eat, so probably diet is instrumental in this chronic disease statistics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely is. It definitely is. Our bodies are amazing, and the kinds of things that happen internally when we eat certain ways, it's just amazing.
It is definitely. Okay, well, what about then? So, we talked about the problem. Okay, now this is where the interview is going to get really interesting, because you're going to talk to me about ketones and ketosis. So, some people
Okay.
listening, they won't even know what that is, and some will, but you're going to no doubt explain about ketones and ketosis. So, if you could do
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely. And I do want to say, just because of the things we've talked about already, I do want to say that this product that I'm talking about today is not a weight loss product. It's an energy
Mhm.
product, but I think hopefully everybody will understand a little bit more as I explain some of that. So let me talk about ketones and ketosis. So what happens is our bodies naturally produce ketones whenever we start to decrease the amount of carbohydrates that we take in with our diet. Okay.
Mhm.
So if you decrease the amount of carbohydrates that you're taking in, that means that your body doesn't need as much. You're decreasing sugar, you're decreasing glucose, and that means your body doesn't need as much insulin. So your body's not going to produce as much insulin, because insulin is kind of partnered with glucose. So if you decrease the carbs, you decrease the glucose, you decrease the insulin, what starts happening is that your body starts saying, we need fuel. And where are we going to get the fuel? And so it taps into your fat cells, and your fat cells start breaking apart, basically, and the fat gets released into the system, makes its way through through your blood to the liver, and the liver breaks the fat down into ketone molecules. So now you have this fat that has been converted to ketones, basically, and the ketone is in your bloodstream, and that becomes it's going out to your brain, it's going out, the ketones are going out to your muscles, going out to your tissues, going out to all your cells, and it's providing a level of energy. And what's amazing about it is that our bodies, especially our brains, prefer ketones over glucose for fuel. So we're really talking about a second fuel source. If you think about things like a Tesla car. A Tesla can run on gas or electricity. And so it's a dual fuel concept. And that's really the same way that our bodies are. Our bodies can function off of glucose or off of ketones for its fuel source. The issue is that if you're running on glucose and you have extra glucose because you're eating a lot of carbohydrates, so you got a lot of extra glucose in your system, the glucose can't get released. Basically, it gets stored, and that's what it gets stored in our fat cells, and that's what makes us fat. If you have excess ketones, ketones can't get stored in the fat cells, and so they get released from the body either through the urine or through the breath. So it's an amazing fuel source, but that's kind of how it happens. If you and there's a whole lot of science behind this, and I'm not a scientist, I'm not a physician, but if you just think about the simplicity of it, you decrease the carbohydrates in your diet, you decrease the glucose, the sugar that is circulating in your body. Your body doesn't need as much insulin, so it's not producing as much insulin. And the body starts, or the fat cells start breaking down. The fats, running around in your bloodstream ends up going through the liver. The liver breaks it down into ketones, and the ketones now become a fuel source to your body.
Sure.
Ketosis just basically means that you have ketones in your bloodstream. So that's it. It's just, once that process has occurred, then you've got ketones in your bloodstream, and that's called ketosis. And it's just a state that people are shooting for. And we'll talk about the ketogenic diet and how that correlates to all of this. But that's kind of the process of what's happening with the ketogenic diet.
Right, I see. Yeah, well, that makes sense to me. And I'll tell you why it makes sense is because when you think about the age of humanity, and then you think about modern man, so modern man is a very small blip in time in the grand scheme of like the age of humankind, right?
Yeah.
You think about how we used to eat in days
Exactly.
gone by and how we eat today. And then also as well, farming is new, right? Might not seem new, but it is, in the grand scheme of things. And now we're like producing, all these cereals and grains and wheat and, all this stuff, and we're eating it. But guess what? Like I remember, because I was researching this a little bit, and our bodies haven't adapted to our new modern way of eating. So we're eating in ways now that we're not adapted to do it. It's not natural to us,
Yeah.
So, all these carbs and sugars and everything, it's just not, we can't handle it.
That's that's such a great piece of information with all of this, because ketones are actually a native fuel source, and it's native because of everything that you just said. We actually are born in ketosis. So when a baby is born, a baby is in ketosis, and that is occurring because the baby's body is using ketones and fat for brain growth and for energy. So it's just, we're born in this perfect state, and then we screw it up from there. So, by what we're eating and by all the things that you've just said. So,
Yeah, sure. And also, and I really don't want to sort of digress, but I think it's very relevant at this point. But, not only all of that, but, what about the regularity, how often we eat? Because, we're not supposed to eat 3 cooked meals a day. And yet in these modern times, we do, especially with convenience food. And, because I know that a part of what you talk about is fasting as well, and that is more natural to us because back in the a long time ago, like we didn't eat 3 meals a day, and there would be long periods we didn't eat. So I think that's another thing about our modern day eating habits and how we've evolved socially, that we eat so much.
Exactly. Yeah, when we sleep, our body actually goes into ketosis, small amounts, depending on how long you're sleeping and whatever, but you're basically fasting when you're sleeping. If you're, if you're sleeping for 10 hours or whatever it might be, your body, you're fasting and your body does go into ketosis. And then, it changes as soon as you start eating. So
Yeah.
which is a big part of where this type of a product comes into play.
Sure. Yeah, certainly. Okay. Well, I've got another question. So, and this will be interesting because, everyone's heard of ketones, but what about the term exogenous ketones, right? So
Yeah.
what are exogenous ketones? Where did they come from? And, what can you tell us about the science and research in relation to that?
Okay. Yeah, that's great. So the process that I was describing before, where and let's just talk about the ketogenic diet. I think at this point, a lot of people have heard about the ketogenic diet, or at least maybe have heard the term. And what most people know is that the ketogenic diet is extremely beneficial for our health. But
Mhm.
what most people also know is that the ketogenic diet is extremely difficult to follow. We're
Mm.
talking about, like, if you think about what the traditional, at least the traditional Western diet is right now, we're talking probably about 65% carbohydrates on a daily basis. The
Yeah.
ketogenic diet is somewhere between 3 and 5% carbohydrates. So you can imagine, I mean, that's a
Mm.
massive
Big
shift
difference.
and
Mm.
change from the way that we typically eat and what we're surrounded by and everything else. So we know that it's really difficult, but we also know that if somebody is following the ketogenic diet, their body is going into ketosis and the benefits are just phenomenal. It's absolutely amazing. The ketogenic diet was actually created over 100 years ago, back in the 1920s, where it was created based on some researchers out of, I believe it was the Mayo Clinic, but it was related to children that had epilepsy. And what they found was that this diet, this ketogenic, very fat, high fat, low carbohydrate diet, mimicked fasting and was very successful with children that had epilepsy. So over the past 100 years, there's been a ton of research, probably more accelerated over the past 10, 15 years. And so there's just a tremendous amount of research centered around all of this. But
Mhm.
what I was, if somebody follows the ketogenic diet, then that process that I was explaining is happening internally. So it's all
Mhm.
internal. That's where your body is producing endogenous ketones. It's internal ketones. Um,
Okay.
what happened was back around 2007, here in the United States, the Department of Defense and the Department of the Navy had an issue that they wanted a solution for. And the issue was that their divers, the Navy divers who will dive very, very deep, um, will sometimes wear what's considered a rebreathing mask, and it's kind of the way it recirculates the oxygen or whatever, and that it's very beneficial in terms of there's no bubbles that go to the surface, so it prevents them from being detected.
Mhm.
But what they were finding was that it also increases the chances of them having a seizure. And
Mm.
so the Navy had said, what is it, is there something we can do about this? They looked for some of the top researchers in the world, and the person that they turned to was Dr. Dominic D'Agostino, who is here in Florida, where we are, and at the University of South Florida. He's one of the top researchers in the whole world of ketosis, ketones, ketogenic diet. And they came to him and basically said, can you create a pill? Can you create something that can help, resolve this problem? Well, that ended up resulting in about a 5-year research process. And the end of that research was the development of exogenous ketones, meaning ketones that are coming from the outside of the body that
Mhm.
you can put into the body. And in this case, it was going to be a powder mixed with water
Mm.
that you would drink. So
Mm.
in 2013, a company called Pruvit obtained the rights to manufacture and market the exogenous ketones. It took a couple years to figure out how to make it something that you could drink that would taste good,
Mhm.
because the taste was absolutely horrible. So the research continued, all the work continued on it, but the product actually came to market in September of 2015. And so now, over the past 5 years, we've had this that was the first exogenous ketone product. That is, this is what it looks like. It's, comes in a box like this, and these are the individual packets that you just mix up with water and ice and shake it up and drink it. And
they do taste nice. I have that same box.
The flavors are, at this point now, they just continue adding flavors. This one is raspberry lemonade, which is my favorite. So I drink this one all the time, but there's a million different flavors. Some people like them sweeter, some people don't like them sweeter. They do have to use a little bit of stevia to give it a flavor that people will like. But so that's kind of the history behind the product. And Pruvit has continued. The research that has been done is absolutely phenomenal. And we're talking about research from everything from fat loss to, every kind of chronic disease that there is. The research on ketones and on this product is just overwhelming. But at this point, it's a phenomenal product, and it's like I said, it's been on the market for about 5 years, and the benefit goes well beyond. As I said, it's not a weight loss product, but fat loss is one of the incredible side benefits or side effects, if you will. But the other benefits are overwhelming. So if you look at what the benefits are for ketosis, so somebody is following the ketogenic diet, their body goes into ketosis, and the kinds of benefits that they see are better fat loss, better focus, better clarity. I mean, it's amazing what it does with your brain. Better skin, better strength, just better overall human performance, better energy. It's just incredible. Well, when you drink the exogenous ketones, you are putting the ketones into your body. And so you are experiencing, in less than 59 minutes, your body is going into ketosis, and you're experiencing many of the benefits of ketosis the same way that you would if you were following the ketogenic diet. So, some people will say, well, I had 20 pounds to lose. I used the product. It helped me. I lost the 20 pounds. Maybe I should never drink it again. What I would say is, don't ever walk away from the research and the information that's centered around all of this, because the benefit to your brain and to your cells and to your energy and to everything else is so incredible that when you understand some of that, this is where you want your energy coming from. So,
and I can testify to that too, because I've bought these from yourself. And they definitely, like the weight loss, you got to wait for that. And like, I am starting to lose weight, right? But then my eating's not the best. But like that's very true. But what you can experience very quickly, I'm just saying from my own experience, is the effect it has on your brain. So like literally within a matter of minutes or an hour or whatever, like you feel a difference in your brain, more alert, more focused. And then that has like a knock-on effect, because if you're feeling like that inside your brain, it's going to help you emotionally as well. So
exactly,
it helps with your motivation, with it has like this whole chain reaction. So
it does.
It makes a better day.
It does, and it's interesting, because that is probably the one thing. The first time that people mix up the drink and drink it, most people, that's the first thing that they experience. So it doesn't take weeks. It doesn't take, to get a body into ketosis through dietary changes through the ketogenic diet can take weeks and sometimes months for people. And it's not a lot of fun. A lot of people go through a keto flu type of thing, and you don't really feel good. When you're drinking the exogenous ketones, you're in ketosis in less than 59 minutes. You can prove that by taking a keto stick and checking your urine, and you can see that you've got ketones in your body. But the other thing is that most people do notice that elevation of clarity and of focus. And one of the reasons is because of how easily the ketones get into the brain. and how, I think it's 40%, the ketones are 40% more efficient fuel than what glucose is. So your brain prefers ketones over glucose. Your brain is kind of like, whoa, this is great, and and it's interesting because it correlates. And I kind of share this because if somebody's listening and they don't have weight loss, or they don't have a fat loss goal, they don't need to lose body fat, but they're still concerned about their health. If you think about what happens is, sometimes, or maybe you've heard the term type 3 diabetes. Type 3 diabetes is a term that's being used to kind of describe what might be happening with Alzheimer's. And this is kind of going back to all the research and everything that's been done. And what the research is showing is that for many people with Alzheimer's, there is a level of insulin resistance that's specific to the brain. So what's happening, we talked about this before, where glucose has to be carried into the cell by insulin. So if there is a level of insulin resistance in the brain where it's kind of putting up a wall, that means that the insulin can't carry the glucose into the brain. So the brain is not getting the fuel that it needs. It's kind of starving. But the amazing thing about ketones is that it easily crosses the blood-brain barrier. It doesn't have to be carried in by anything. It's not dependent on anything else. It's just getting that amazing fuel into the brain. And so, if you have no issues, you feel it. If you have some issues, you feel it. So it's it's pretty amazing, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people will use the product, is because they want that clarity, they want that focus. It elevates your productivity. Like you said, it kind of just makes the day better. You have a higher level of energy, and it's not coffee energy or caffeine energy. The product comes with caffeine or without caffeine, but it's not like this kind of thing that you might experience. It's just a very smooth level of productivity and energy that you experience, that you just feel good. You just feel good, and you feel good because your body's getting the kind of energy that it absolutely loves.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm sitting here and I'm hearing this, and I've heard it because we've talked before, but I feel like I'm sold all over again. I do.
I'll tell you what, I wish, that's kind of my goal. In granted, I've decided to to jump into this as a business as well. And the main reason why I have decided to do that is because I just want the world to know. I mean, yes, I want to make money, and we all need to make money and succeed at business and those kinds of things. But I just want the world to know. I want individuals to know that you don't have to sit back and say, oh my God, my health is just, it is what it is. I can't ever change it. I think a lot of times people will, kind of wake up in the morning and they say, today's the day. I'm going to make all these changes. I'm motivated. I am just determined. I'm going to do this, and today's the day. And by noon, that motivation turns to defeat and despair, and that kind of creates this cycle. So the one thing that I like to share with people is that to me, this is a product that can be partnered with your desire for change. So, because what it's doing, one of the things that the ketones do is they balance out your blood sugar level, which means that they help decrease cravings. Okay. And they also help decrease your appetite, in addition to all these other benefits that, I've already mentioned. But when you think about fat loss, what is it that happens that, prevents us from maybe losing the body fat that we want to lose? We're hungry. We have cravings. We want to eat, and we just say, oh, what the heck? I'm just going to go ahead and have whatever I want. But if you can have a tool that is a very, very healthy tool in a million different ways, but it can help you not have as many cravings, not be as hungry, and make it a little bit easier for you to make the dietary changes. You do not need to be on the ketogenic diet to lose body fat and have the benefits of this product. But if your goal is to is to lose body fat, then just start decreasing your carbohydrate level. And as you decrease your carbohydrate level, you got all those other benefits. You've got ketones that you're putting in that are helping with it's mimicking ketosis, and your body is in ketosis because you can, you've got the, you can check that with the ketone sticks, but it's also driving the liver to produce more ketones. So it's just, our bodies are so amazing, and if we can just put something that simple in there and start making those simple changes, then it doesn't feel so overwhelming. I think it's so many people have lost hope, I think, when it comes to their health. And we are all just a phone call away, just a moment away from having our lives changed dramatically. It might be a call from the doctor. It might be a lab test that just came back. It might be a symptom that we've had that, now we're hearing a diagnosis that was something we never wanted to hear. And it's like, we don't need to wait for those moments. We can grab hold now. I don't care if your goal is just to have better focus, or if your goal is to lose 10 pounds, or if your goal is to lose 110 pounds. It doesn't matter. It's just, today is a new day. But if you can't do it on your own, then a tool that can help support that in a very, very positive way exists. It exists.
Yes, definitely. And thank goodness it does, because, it's not very often you come across a weight loss program that doesn't require a heck of a lot of effort and sacrifice, and so I mean, this is great. Now the thing is, I think that this message is going to really help people. And I know what's going to happen as well is, we're coming close to Christmas. People start overindulging and overeating at Christmas, and you've just explained how we can literally help ourselves and do something like this now,
Exactly.
not have to have a huge sacrifice. But then there'll be people that don't. They'll want to overindulge over Christmas. We all do it. We're all human. Right. And then come January, everyone's got these weight loss goals, and everyone thinks, right, now I'm going to be good. Now I'm going to turn over a new leaf. I'm going to do a New Year's resolution, And so, I think this message has come at a great time,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, we have to live our lives. And, if we try to live totally restrictive, I mean, that's what makes everybody fail. And we can't do that. And, Christmas or whatever you celebrate, these holidays are important. It's family time. It's, there's a lot of great things that are out there. But I think what you don't need to do is look at the month of December and say, oh my God, I'm just going to eat whatever is out there, because Christmas is coming, and then I'm going to start in January. You can kind of control that, still enjoy your holidays, and go into the new year with a whole different, level of hope. And I think too that when there's if you think about the fact that our brain it's kind of the beginning of our kinetic chain. Our brain is what drives how we move, how we function, all the bodily functions that we have. If we're giving our brain a better fuel, then we're giving our body a better fuel. So our body, it's going to start being easier to move. Some people can't even get up out of a chair, without it just really hurting. And, to be able to know that another fuel can start making a difference in how you feel while you're losing body fat, or while you're making all these other health changes, is a very hopeful thought, I think.
Yeah, certainly. I agree. Yeah. So really and truly then, like the whole, like the keto drink is a whole, it's a lifestyle enhancing product.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, because it's like we were talking about before, the domino effect. When you make a few changes, it overlaps, it overspills. Other things in your life start getting better, and everything's interconnected, and we just have an overall better life, better lifestyle.
Yeah, sure. And I would encourage people to Google ketones and whatever, ketones and fat loss, ketones and Alzheimer's, ketones and cancer, ketones and inflammation. There is so much research out there regarding ketones, and the benefit on so many different chronic diseases and so many different things that might be going on in our lives. So I think it's really helpful to see beyond. It's very easy to say, oh, okay, I'm looking in the mirror and I have 10 pounds, 20 pounds, whatever that I want to lose. You can look in the mirror and not necessarily see the inflammation that might be in somebody's body, or you can't see that they have arthritis, or you can't see, whatever other kinds of things might be going on. So, it's just knowing that there is the potential to start making, start affecting some of those things in a very positive way through something that is just a very simple process.
Yeah, true. Also, my own personal experience, I found as well, when I'm losing weight, sometimes when I get on the scales, it doesn't look like it because I'm not losing much in the way of pounds, but I'm losing inches, and my body shape is changing.
Yes, that's a really good point, because, and one of the things that research shows about ketones is that when you have ketones in your body, it starts to pull excess water and toxins out of the cells. And so you're going to the bathroom a lot when you start drinking the ketones, but you're getting, you're flushing that out, if you will. So sometimes people may not necessarily be seeing a change on the scale. We kind of encourage people, don't even get on the scale. Just go by how your clothes feel, because you're shifting your body composition. Especially if somebody is really trying to lose body fat, you are shifting your body composition. It will happen. It's not going to happen overnight. You didn't gain all that weight or whatever it was overnight. But if you're giving it a period of time, in a couple of weeks, you are going to see changes, and whatever, your goal is and however long it might take, that is going to happen. But not only is it, I'm decreasing carbs and I'm drinking these, and so I'm taking less calories or whatever it is. You actually have ketones that are helping to change the composition of your body. The muscle takes up less room than all that fat. So
yeah, that's true. I just thought, see, at home I've got clothes that no longer fit me, and I have deliberately not thrown them out.
Yes.
In fact, actually, I went and bought some new clothes from the shop and deliberately bought them that
Too
I
small.
knew that they would be tight and too small. Yeah,
Good for
because
you.
when you invest money, like say you buy some clothes, you spent some money, and now you got these clothes and you can't wear them. But what greater motivation, I mean, now I'm going to start my keto drink. I'm going to start doing some exercise, and I know that I just need to lose a little bit, and then I'll be able to wear those clothes. And so I think that's a good measure. A good measure of success.
It is
when clothes that previously fitted that no longer fit, and now they do again.
Yeah. And there's probably not a whole lot of people out there that don't have those kinds of clothes in their closet, that maybe fit at one point in time and they just don't want to get rid of them because, but the good thing is that you can get back into those clothes, and so don't get rid of them. This can happen. I think that's a great way to look at it.
It is. Okay, so I was going to ask you a couple of things that you have covered, but what I want to ask you now, because you talked about sort of fat loss goals and what to expect when drinking the exogenous ketones. So we've covered that quite well, but so I think this is an important question. Like, if someone has an interest in trying the ketone product, where do you recommend they begin? So I suppose you can mention your website and just generally where do you start? Because I think by now, if anyone listening is like me, they're thinking, wow, like this is really exciting. And I've heard it and I'm excited. So
absolutely. So yes, my website is a perfect place to go. First of all, to get some additional information. There's testimonials on there. There's videos on there. There's a lot of information that might be helpful if you want to know a little bit more. Some people may have no interest in knowing more. They just want to order the product and try it. So I think there's a couple things on the site. There's a store. There's a tab for a store that you can go into and can actually order product, which I'll mention in just a minute. But there's also a fat loss tab that will give you a little bit more information about the fat loss process. And one of the things that that Pruvit offers is what's considered a 10-day challenge pack. And that 10-day challenge pack, which is $99, it is 20 packets, and it's a mixture of different flavors. And half of them are caffeinated and half of them are non-caffeinated. And the purpose of that is really for, sometimes people just want to try out the product, see how it makes them feel, try some of the different flavors, just kind of, figure out. So it's a good place to start. Other people know that, they can hear raspberry lemonade and say, oh my God, that's a flavor I know I would really like. And so you can just order, the boxes themselves of the different ketone flavors. There's also different packages that are available on there as well that can bring the price down a little bit. So I think, one of the things that I've got on the website is several different ways that people can reach out to me. And I love being able to talk to people about what their personal goals are and, just kind of share my thoughts as to maybe where it would be best for them to start. I will tell you that, a lot of people have questions regarding their medical conditions. And I am, as I said, I'm not a physician. I'm a nurse, but I'm not a physician. I'm not going to address any kind of medical conditions. We always, share the disclaimer that the product and, all this information is for informational purposes only. And there's no intention to cure, treat, any of those kinds of things. But there are health specialists and doctors that work with Pruvit that share information on a weekly basis, and all of that information is on Facebook Lives and on different platforms that can be shared with people. So if somebody had a particular question that they wanted to know, well, how can I find out, I've got this going on and how can I figure out if this will benefit me or whatever, they can just reach out and let me know, and I can just, send them some information or direct them to maybe a video or something that might help answer those questions. So I would say that the challenge pack is a great place to start. You can order one individual box, you can order more, but having a conversation is a good place to start as well. And that'll help me understand maybe what your personal goals are and help to guide that a little bit more. So I think it's important to know that, people are not going to lose 20 pounds in 10 days. I mean, it's, you definitely can lose a few pounds in 10 days, that's for sure. But, you have to be realistic about what this product is and, and where you're trying to go with it. You're not trying to follow a 500 calorie diet. You're not, any of those kinds of things. You don't even have to change your diet if you don't want. You can try the product and you can just let the product do the magic. It'll start decreasing your hunger level and all those kinds of things. So, yeah,
definitely. And, you're biased, whereas, I can say that it definitely is worthwhile. It definitely is. And also, Nita is a great person to hook up with, have a conversation with, because she's very supportive. Not trying to flatter you here, Nita.
Thank you.
But it's true, yeah. And because as well, there is like a promoter opportunity as well that
Absolutely.
You can find out information from on Nita's website. And so, like, so far as getting support on that, like Nita, she's very committed to helping people reach their goals. She's just said about reaching their goals. So whatever your goals are, I know that Nita will be a fantastic support and care deeply about your goals. But also, oh yeah, you're welcome. But also as well, I recommend that if you're listening, you subscribe to Nita's newsletter, which you can on her website, because there's a free ebook, which is also very interesting. Upgrade your metabolism. So, look at that.
There you go.
Oh, that's great.
And I'll mention as well, and this is great. Upgrade your metabolism, how to burn more fat without eating less. But also on the website, if you go to the fat loss tab, there's a place where you can get a little more information about the challenge, the ketone challenge and the challenge pack. And Pruvit also offers another free gift, which is called Brain Hacks, and gives you a little bit more information about kind of how the ketones can impact your brain. So potential for 2 gifts for you there.
Yeah, that's excellent.
And a whole big gift of better health. There we go, So,
and
Jimmy, I just want to touch on too, because you just mentioned about the the business opportunity. And I always just like to throw that out there as well, because there is definitely a business opportunity that surrounds this. Pruvit is a direct marketing company that really functions. It's kind of created its own business model, if you will, that is really focused on community-based marketing, which is this kind of thing, or just talking to your neighbors. One person has an experience and shares it with others, puts it on, Facebook, whatever. And then the social networking, which of course is so huge now, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, bigger now than it was a year ago. So there's an incredible business opportunity there as well. And the thing that I love about that is that all you have to have is a desire to help other people, whether that's to help other people financially or health-wise or whatever. If somebody just has an interest in wanting to see other people be healthier, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have a certain level of education. You don't have to have a certain, level of income. You don't have to have, it doesn't matter who you are. If you've got an interest in helping people, you can succeed at this business. And the tools that are provided by Pruvit as a company are overwhelming, from business skills, social media skills, all the things that it takes to succeed in a business. So please reach out if that's any of interest to anyone as well.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's great. Okay, so also what I'm going to do is in the description box under this video, I'm going to put all the links that we've talked about. So you're going to have a link to Nita's website, and I'll put Nita's contact information, if she whatever kind of contact information you'd like me to, so that everything is there that you need in the description box to take things further or get in touch with Nita. Be sure also, if you've not already had a 15-day free trial for Scalar Light, then please subscribe to our channel, because we've got lots of exciting things. There'll be more interviews, and I hope that Nita will also come back for an interview.
Absolutely.
It's your company, but I think that'd be great. And you see, like Scalar Light, we also have a fat metabolism program as well, which we've not discussed because that's not what this video is about. We were talking about ketosis and ketones, but in the future we'll have about that. But I will put the link in the description so that you can check out the fat metabolism program. But do try the Scalar Light free trial, because it's also awesome, and you get to try before you buy. So it's very good, and obviously we've done lots of content on Scalar Light, and we will do in the future. So this video is exclusively dedicated to the topic at hand, right? But just in case you're new, you've never watched a video on our channel before, just want to bring your attention to Scalar Light, scalarlight.com, and go and get yourself a free trial so that you can experience that as well.
That's great. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jamie.
Oh yeah, you're very welcome. I've really enjoyed this, and I hope everyone has. And thank you so much, Nita, for your time and for explaining all of this. I've learned a few new things. I kept saying, "Oh yeah, we've had these discussions," but each time I hear it, I learn something new. So I thank you for that.
Absolutely. I heard somebody say recently that the most afraid you'll ever be is right before the moment that you decide to make a change in your life. I hope that if nothing else, I hope that this information has scared a few people, just a little bit, at least enough to want to move, want to act, want to do something, and just to recognize that there are things that can be done. You don't have to be hopeless no matter what your health challenges are. There are options, there are things out there. And if I can share just one really quick story before we go.
Please do.
And I want to share this because this has nothing to do with the benefit of ketones and fat loss, but brain health, basically. When I was first introduced to the ketones 5 years ago, my mother, who lived with me at the time, had been living with Parkinson's disease for many years. And for those of you that are familiar with Parkinson's, you know the kinds of challenges that can occur with that. And one of the things that I started to dig into right away was, as I looked at the research, I started seeing a lot of information about brain health and specifically about Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and some of those types of things. And so I wanted my mother to try the ketones. My mother was 91 years old. She was as stubborn as a mule. She had no interest in trying this product. And so, like any good daughter, I just started sneaking it into her Gatorade. She had no idea that she was drinking it. And after a couple of days, she came to me and she said something about, my writing is better. I feel like my writing is better. I said, what do you mean? She said, I don't know. I just feel like I'm writing better. And I pulled out a piece of paper and I asked her to write her name. And when she wrote her name, I, dropped to my knees because her writing at that moment was the beautiful cursive that she had always had in her life. And as you know, with Parkinson's, your writing can become very much like chicken scratch. And I even have a picture that shows what her writing was and how it changed with the ketones on board. And, all I can say is that I lost my mom about a year after that. Granted, the Parkinson's had impacted her life in many ways. But that last year of her life, the quality of her life was significantly improved because of the ketones. And I can testify to that. So I just want to share that because I think so many times we get focused on the fat loss side of this. And I just really do want people to understand the overall benefit, head to toe, if you will, of having ketones for a fuel source. So, but thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to share this information, Jamie.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And that's an amazing story about your mother. So thanks for sharing that. It really is.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Okay, well, we'll leave it there, and thank you everyone for listening. If you have any questions, any comments, please put them in the comments section, and no doubt Nita will reply.
Absolutely.
Or just get in touch with Nita. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
We'll see you next time. Okay,
bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.